Good day and welcome to the Think React Lead radio show. I'm your host, Dom Faussette, executive coach and leadership speaker with Think React Lead, here with you on Intelligent Talk 960, the Patriot KKNT. Let's get ready to do the Dom thing, folks. All right, it's been a week since we've last spoken. Well, out there in Facebook world, thank you very much for tuning in. Instagram world, same thing to you. Thank you very much. And you listeners, love all of you. Well, folks, I just came back from Seattle. And, you know, this is what I find very, very interesting. I am a 42-year-old grown man. By encouragement of my parents at a young age, I joined the military. Shortly thereafter, to pay tribute to my great-grandfather, who was one of the first black police officers in Philadelphia, I became a police officer in Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi was not a choice. It just happened. But tell my dad I'm about to leave, and he goes to tell me, he said, well, are you sure you want to go to Seattle? There's a lot of civil unrest down there. And that's not how he sounds, but in my head at the moment, that's how he sounds. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm talking to my wife, Dad, you do realize, like, my first deployment was North Africa, my second, like, I've been all over the place. I'm certain I can handle Seattle. Like, growing up in California, gang violence, like, all of the things, Seattle's not going to be the thing that takes me out. Folks, how many of you have parents, no matter how old you get, or people around you that forget that you, my friend, are an adult? And I'm bringing this up because how many times have you forgotten that you're an adult? How many times have you forgotten that you've conquered walking? You've conquered speaking the English language at a minimum. You've conquered math, which I don't know about you guys, but for me, I hate it. But you've conquered breathing, which if you break down how breathing takes place, like, there's a lot of work the body has to do to even keep you alive. Like, you've had jobs, you've had ladies, you've had kids, which I don't even know how you do that. Let me have one, I'm out, right? So it's sometimes we forget that we can do things, and we've gone through things, and we've succeeded, right? Success, as I've stated before, is not monetary, my friends. Success is a feeling. But sometimes you forget to feel, and you leave that stuff in your blind spot. Or what's in your blind spot are people that are just way too close to you. Some of you have people in your life that are slowing you down, but you don't realize it because you failed to take a look in your blind spot to see who's there before you go to switch lanes. And you're letting other people dictate what it is that you do or what it is that you're thinking about doing. If you're just tuning in, again, my name is Dom Faussette, host here of the Think React Lead radio show on Intelligent Talk 960, the Patriot KKNT. And I have an out-of-town guest in studio today, fellow veteran. And yeah, he sent me a bio, and I'm going to get to the bio, but that's not how we met. We didn't meet because of the bio. We met because he has an outstanding company. He's an awesome speaker. He's an outstanding author. And without him really knowing me, he invited me, him and his team, to speak on his stage. It's been about two years now. And let me just kind of give you a well-rounded overview of Darin Bibeau. And no, go ahead, bro.
That's a Bibeau.
Bibeau.
Right
I knew it.
Yes.
I knew it. Bibeau. You told me don't look at it. Don't read it. Darin Bibeau is the president and owner of National Chimney Natural Light Energy Systems and Kennedy Skylights. He's a former Coast Guard law enforcement detachment team special operator and government contractor assigned to restoring civil order in Southeast Asia. He's also a motivational speaker, business consultant, and now author, which we're going to talk about, his awesome book. Darin devotes himself to helping veterans support organizations and coaches others on how to build a bulletproof life of their own. Sir, I just want to say thank you very much for traveling during this time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. You made it.
And, like I said, I came down in the airplane and felt like I was the only one in it, so I felt like I was getting private service. So it was all
you
good.
were. Basically, it was your plane.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I really like having veterans on. I'm a veteran, you know that, and our hearts go out to veterans. What do you think you would be doing right now had you not joined the military?
If I hadn't joined the military, I probably would be dead.
Makes two of us.
But when my mom hears it, she's going to cry. But
Right.
Yeah, the military changed my life, and obviously for the better. And I wasn't going down any dangerous, super bad roads or anything, but I was, probably making decisions that weren't the best for my life. And then joining the military was the best decision I made, going into the Coast Guard, for sure, hands down.
Isn't it crazy how the stupid stuff that we do prior to joining the military is frowned upon? That same mindset allows us to do more stupid stuff, but now we're getting paid for it, and we're celebrated. What do you think? Now, you were part of a law enforcement detachment, Coast Guard. Just give me one crazy story that kind of reshaped you with your experience in the Coast Guard. Like, we all have that crazy story that we're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have made that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got a bunch of them, especially when, working overseas. But honestly, I think going into boot camp, it changed my life. As soon as you get off that bus in the middle of the night, they do that just for your mind.
It works.
And, they start yelling at you right away. And literally 5 minutes after getting off the bus, I started thinking, did I make the right decision? and of course I did.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You joined the military, don't know when you went in, don't know when you came out, but fast forward to today, you got a book.
That's correct.
That had you not joined the military, this book specifically, and the stories in it, which we're going to talk about, which is also an audio book, folks. The book is called Back to Bulletproof, A Warrior's Tactical Guide to Success. Before we jump into the book, what encouraged you to write this book, Back to Bulletproof, A Warrior's Tactical Guide to Success?
Well, you probably don't remember, but 2 years ago when you spoke at the Warrior Leadership Conference, you told me two things. You said to me, you're like, Darin, your social media is terrible.
I do remember that one.
and you need to get yourself out there because people need to hear your story.
Right.
So I interpreted that as, what, a lot of people have asked me, when I tell them stories, like, oh, you should write a book. And I think they say it just jokingly, but at the same time, I took it seriously.
Yeah.
And then I'm a goal setter. So one day I just woke up and I'm in a mixed group and we were talking about writing books. And basically, long story short, I said, yeah, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to have it done by the end of the year. And by December 31st, it was all edited and done, ready to go. So it was completed. I hit my goal and it came out this March. And then the audio came out in May.
So you have a written book, which
this
is a thick book, but it's got pictures in it, folks.
Yeah.
I like that. And he's got swag. Thank you for the shirt, by the way.
No problem.
Everyday GSD, which is for this radio show. It's everyday get stuff done.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah.
For this show.
for the show, stuff for the show.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about writing a book. Most people don't do it. We've all seen the people try to do the things. I want to jump right into your core values because I know what my core values are, and is HILS, honesty, integrity, loyalty, and service, and it helps me do a lot of things. But your core values, the acronym is HONOR. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so it's simple. We hire and fire, and we run our company on core values. And so honor basically is an acronym that we came up with. And I wanted to use honor because I feel like when I was in the military, that was one of our core values in the Coast Guard. Honor, respect, and devotion to duty. So I took that actual word, made it into an acronym, and then like this card right here, I don't know if you guys can see this. So it's our company core values, and on the back of it, it tells you basically all of our core values, what they mean. So, and I can read it to you guys so you can
Please,
see it.
Thank
so
you.
It basically, H is honesty and integrity. O, operating at the highest level all times. N, never say never. O, originality, thinking outside the box. And R, respect the customers, the company, and yourself. So obviously my employees carry this card around with them, and that's to remind them that everything they're doing is important, that it's for their customers, themselves, and the company at all times. So I don't want them to stray off the track. I want good people doing good things. And that's basically why we did this. And we came up with this several years ago, and it's changed the way we operate our company.
Now, you've operated at this standard for how long? Since when do you think?
Ooh, over 10 years.
Okay, and it's safe to assume, prior to that, I mean, my company, Think, React, Lead, it started maybe 5 years ago, but the mindset behind it was probably when I was 19, 20 years of age. I want you to tell me about a time that, I've read some of your book, and there's some things that you've done in there specific to drug busts and the smuggling. A lot of people don't really understand the Coast Guard. Like, fellow veterans will joke back and forth,
Right.
but people don't really understand. There's like one movie out there, maybe two, that talk about the Coast Guard, but what do you do for America's borders?
Well, it's interesting because there's so many different aspects of the Coast Guard, and I think that's what's confusing to people. They don't understand it. So, when I was in the lead at Law Enforcement Detachment Team, it's part of Tackle It South. So that's a special operations unit that basically is to stop narcotics from coming into the U.S.
Okay.
And so we basically go out in the water and chase bad guys. And then some of the guys on the teams will go into South America and Central America, go on land and do it in the rivers, and then other countries as well. But when I was doing it, it was mostly Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Suriname. Those are the areas that I was working at.
Right.
And we had some of the largest cocaine drug busts and took down some of the most ruthless drug dealers out there. So it's pretty rewarding.
I would definitely say so, and safe to say you're a great swimmer. I've seen some of the training for the Coast Guard folks. We're talking about Darin Bibeau's
Right
book,
on.
Back to Bulletproof, A Warrior's Tactical Guide to Success. And when we come back from break, we'll tell you where you can find it. And we're going to dive more into the book, specifically some of the chapters that kind of stood out to me, if you're okay with that, Darin. Before we go, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on all social media platforms. Just Darin Bibeau, Darin, B as in boy, I, B as in boy, EAU, Instagram, Facebook.
The whole nine.
All of them. Yep. It's very easy.
I love it. I love it. Folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dom Faussette, your host of the Think React Lead radio show here on Intelligent Talk 960, The Patriot, KKNT. You know what? I want you to think about one thing. What's an area in your life where you feel being bulletproof would be beneficial? Like, put some serious thought behind that. And I'm asking you to do that because most people don't put thought into their thoughts. It wasn't until I was 34, 35 when I started doing that, but it's made a huge difference in how I live my life and standards that I hold for myself and my non-negotiables. So when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the 6 P's of planning. If you're okay with that, Darin, you know what? I can call him a friend. A lot of people on social media we haven't met, but I've met you. I've seen you probably 2 or 3 times now, and you're the same person online that you are in person, which is cool. You're not that nice online, and you're not that nice in person, which is great, right? It lets people know, hey, this is just how he is. But I think a lot of that comes from the fact that you own, but you've ran successful businesses. When I first jumped into this entrepreneurial space, I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I was a people pleaser because I thought that's what you needed to do. But when you start investing and you start losing some money and then you start making some money and you understand the work it takes to run a team, and then the stresses it takes, and we're going to jump into the 6 P's of planning, but the stress that is built in you to have the fervor. Like, you have successful companies.
That's correct.
Like, you're good. You can travel anywhere in the world that you want. You and your wife. You don't have to look at the right side of the menu. Like, you do all right for yourself.
But I do have a great team that's able to get me there, though.
Oh, it's totally true. But even having a team is stressful because one person on a team on a Monday is one person. Come Tuesday or even noon, they could be a completely different person.
Right.
So the fact that you can manage and direct and lead all of that says a lot about you as a person. So thank you for being a great leader. Now, your book, Back to Bulletproof, A Warrior's Tactical Guide to Success, the 6 P's of Planning. Dude, what are the 6 P's of planning?
It's pretty simple. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Okay. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Right.
Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. What?
Yeah. So your lack of planning shouldn't be my emergency. Right?
I like that.
It's very simple if you think about it. So it's like anything. I learned this in the military. You do everything, repetition over and over again. It's so you get good at it.
Right.
They're not just having you do this because they're like, we want you to do more push-ups. We want you to get stronger. So when you get up in the day, if you just get up and you have no plan for the day, you're just, what are you doing?
Right, nothing.
You're doing nothing. You're not even really living.
Right.
So if you have a plan and you can execute the plan, at the end of the day when you go to bed, you said, you know what? I had a great day today. I spent it with my wife. I spent it with my kids. I don't have any kids, but if you have kids,
right,
and your plan is to bring them somewhere, you planned, you put proper planning in, and then you executed it. And at the end of the day, you go, you know what? We had a great day together. whatever it is, whether it's in work or your personal life.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Now, I used to struggle, and it took me a long time to get past this, managing and leading people that didn't have a military background. How did you get over it, or through? How did you break that barrier?
This is a great question. So I think the best way I can explain it to civilians is once we set core values in the company, I'm hiring off those core values. So I'm hiring off honor. Okay? And if they don't fit into those core values, they're not going to be able to follow my lead, and they're not going to be able to execute what I want them to do. At the end of the day, the owner of the company or the leader of the company is only as good as the team, just like in the military. But you know, when I tell people, you know, I've done this in the military, I've done that in the military, and then I come in and I have to change my hat, obviously.
Right.
I'm not going to go in and start yelling at employees like, you know, a company commander would do. In
Of course, right.
But at the same time, and it's not life or death. Listen, I'm making stainless steel pipe, I'm making skylights, I'm making tubular skylights, solar attic fans. I'm not fighting a war.
Fair enough.
So, you know, when you get the right people in, you got to make sure you have to make a decision. Do you keep them on the bus if they're good? If they're helping you make the bus move forward, it's the right people. And if they're dragging the bus back, you got to make a decision, and unfortunately, you've got to move on from them.
So, as a leader with the military experience that you have, I struggled with getting through, and this is years ago, but getting through the explanation process versus the I'm in charge, you do as I say. Like, that's just how I was brought up. At what point, like, did you start like that when you got out of the military and started your business?
I think I had a little bit of an advantage. So when I left the military, I went to government contracting in Southeastern Asia.
Okay.
So then I was a civilian ish.
Right, exactly, ish.
You know, getting paid a lot more money.
Of course.
And a lot more responsibility, but with less people, and you're around other people that are like-minded, but just ish.
Right, ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was like a stepping stone to get back into the civilian world.
Okay.
Because I know it's tough for a lot of people leaving the military, going into the civilian world.
Yes.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, it is.
So I kind of had a stool to step over that helped me.
Okay.
And that would be the government contract.
I like that. And you've hired veterans.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to hire veterans.
Right. They just have a near and dear place to your
Absolutely.
heart. What are some struggles that you think veterans face in the workplace, just coming straight from the military to one of your companies?
Camaraderie. 100%. They miss their team. They miss having the 100% structure telling them what to do all the time. And then
Right.
when you work in corporate America, and I use the word corporate America loosely,
Right.
when you work in corporate America, you don't have someone telling you what to do all the time. So there's an opportunity for you to kind of be lazy and slack.
You have autonomy.
And that goes back to Bulletproof. Get yourself back to the way you should be. Even if you were never in the military, you need to do this for yourself. If you come to work and work hard for the owner or your manager,
Right.
you feel good about yourself.
Of course.
But if you're a skater, if you're just out there slacking, at the end of the day, yeah, maybe you go home and you're the one that's going to complain about your job all the time. You're going to complain about everything, but you're not making any changes. Those are the people I don't want working for my company.
I like that. And it's the good thing about you. It's a great thing, actually. You actually live it, right? And I talked about this earlier. To me, mannerisms that are consistent along with character traits like that I can trust. I don't need you to tell me that you can trust me. No, like being the same person every time I see you.
Right.
Like that just holds so much weight. And I think in the civilian world, that's not something people think about often. But what you're talking about right now, and this goes to one of your chapters in your book, is becoming a disciplined disciple. Just becoming disciplined in itself is a thing.
Right.
Being a disciple is a thing. You know what? When we come back from break, I want to understand how you do those two things
Right.
in the same chapter.